Welcome to Hollywood Stuntmakers. On this episode from Universal Studios in Hollywood, the terrifying world of supernatural special effects. We'll take a behind-the-scenes look at supernatural transformations. We'll learn how special effects can make us believe we've just seen a ghost. We'll also come face-to-face with some of Hollywood's most terrifying characters. All this and more on Hollywood Stuntmakers. When filmmakers want audiences to believe the unbelievable, they turn to the visual effects experts who create complex supernatural special effects. Makeup artist Rick Baker took home an Oscar for turning David Naughton into a ferocious werewolf in the 1981 horror comedy An American Werewolf in London. This transformation required the work of 30 technicians and their assistants. Each stage of the metamorphosis had to be meticulously planned. The hard work paid off in one of Hollywood's most hair-raising scenes. Oscar winner Rick Baker.
The whole transformation itself took us about a week to shoot, but during that week we probably only shot for about a half an hour. You know, it was like, today we're going to do this makeup. It's going to take 10 hours on David Naughton, and then we're going to shoot it for 5 minutes, and then we're done, you know, because it takes too long to take it off and put another one on.
Now let's visit with a man who had to endure all those hours of preparation, actor David Naughton.
When I first got this role, I met Rick Baker, who did the makeup, and he said, "Are you playing the David character?" I said, "Yes, I am," because I feel sorry for you. I said, "You know, wait a second, this is like a real good role for me, or for any actor. What do you mean you feel sorry for me?" And he said, "You'll see." And I saw, right? I basically couldn't do anything but just sit there, you know, and sit there, and you know, 10 hours a day for six days of this transformation, and shoot for a couple hours, and then they said, go take the makeup off, you know, which would take about 3 hours. See you tomorrow, we're going to do this again. And I tried to say, maybe I could leave the country.
You know, we had to take casts of his body in all kinds of weird positions, and there's not a lot of actors who would put up with it, and he was very good about it.
The hardest part was there's a point when the body actually stretches. It's no longer my body. My body's in the floor. They'd cut a hole in the floor, and I was put into the floor. On a break, everyone would leave the set. I'd still be on the floor. They'd relight, I'd still be on the floor, and that was a tough day of work. But the payoff is, is a transformation unlike anything anybody's seen, and it won Rick an Academy Award.
And that was a rubber hand that we made that had little pneumatic rams in there that actually stretched the palm out. And you cut back to this other point of view, and now it was another hand, which was a different sculpture that was made to look a little more wolf-like. And that continued to stretch. And we just, because the frame was like here, you didn't see the elbow, David Naughton just had his arm down, and we were kneeling down underneath him holding this fake arm, and it just looked like it was part of his arm. And there's a part of the transformation where you actually see the hair grow out of the skin. And that was really one of the first ideas I had on this transformation. It was one of the easiest things that we did in the transformation. But it gets a lot of response, and it was actually a reverse shot. What we did is implanted hair in just a little square piece of rubber and pulled the hair through. And when it was played in reverse, the hair grew out.
This is how that scene might have looked 60 years earlier. In John S. Robertson's 1920 release, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a simple crossfade was used to superimpose the images of man and monster. Very little makeup was used on the film's star, John Barrymore. Instead, Barrymore used facial contortions to transform his appearance. According to legend, Barrymore's performance was so convincing that a frightened cameraman nearly fainted. By far the most advanced process ever used in a movie metamorphosis occurs in director James Cameron's futuristic action-adventure Terminator 2. ILM's 7-time Oscar winner, Dennis Murin.
Morphing refers to taking two previous photographed pieces of film and extracting one image from one and one image from the other, and then merging one with the other. So we have a scene of me here, and then we have a scene of you. We have to take the scene of me, and we have to isolate me by drawing out each frame or shooting them against a blue screen or something, or we can do it. We have to do the same then to you, so we have essentially two separate images. And then in the computer, we isolate points that match, like my eyes match. I'd say take points on my eyes, my outline, my mouth, my nose, my shoulders. And we would take points on your eyes, mouth, nose, shoulder. And we would tell the computer to take the data over, say, 100 frames from where my positions are to your positions. And also change the color from my color to your color, and actually go from my image to your image. And when you put that together, that's what you have is a morph. Instead of dissolving, like we're used to seeing dissolves in movies, we're actually very specific and areas that we can dissolve and the placement of those areas that we dissolve. And it's all by picking points on the image. And it's a hand job, and it's done by artists that are very good at what they're doing.
Special effects makeup has evolved from the rudimentary stage to an intricate modern-day art. What's a scary movie without a ghost? Well, in the early days of filmmaking, creating a ghost was often as simple as wearing a white sheet. But today's audiences don't scare that easily. The special effects in Jerry Zucker's 1990 film Ghost involved far more than a trip to the linen closet. In this Academy Award-winning film, computer-generated optical effects allowed Patrick Swayze to amaze viewers by walking through a door. This is Boss Film in Hollywood, also known as Ghost Central. Chances are, if you've seen a ghost, it was probably created here. Boss Film President Richard Edlund.
In Ghost, we did a couple of shots where Patrick goes through a door and you get his point of view, you know. Basically, I did those by taking electron microscope photographs and shooting them on the animation stand and then doing a multiplane, several layers of those, and in conjunction with a computer graphics element, put all that stuff together and it gives you this strange this microscopic point of view of what it might be like to go through fibers of wood. The main thing that I liked about what we did for Ghost was the end sequence where Patrick turns into a ghost and he kisses Demi and he goes off into heaven. We basically got called in to work with Jerry Zucker on that, who's the director, and Jerry needed to get this end sequence put together. It was like 25 or so shots, progressive. In other words, we had this sequence where he's interacting with Demi, saying his final goodbyes. Whoopi Goldberg is in the scene, and all these spirits are surrounding him, and there was certain an environmental feeling that Jerry wanted to get going that it was real difficult to describe or draw storyboards of. So I said, Jerry, what I'd like to suggest is that we do a test for you in video, and we'll transfer the video back to film. And the reason for that is that we'll be able to then, if it works, go in and we can work together on shots in real time so that you can see how the sequence is developing as it's developing.
Here's Deborah Ristic of the Post Group to tell us how a Harry machine works.
A Harry is a digital paint system. A Harry also allows you to do digital editing and compositing. Usually a client comes in with elements that he wants to composite together. These are different layers, if you will, that we build and place together. And sometimes it's just the use of these film elements, these film layers. Sometimes we have to manipulate or affect these elements. And sometimes we actually create effects that are incorporated also.
This beautifully composed sequence started with previously filmed cloud footage, as well as actors in white suits shot against a black background. Then the footage of Patrick Swayze walking against a blue screen was added. Each film element was electronically enhanced to give it this heavenly appearance. Once composited, the shafts of light, the colors, the reflections were all created electronically. The result is magic.
When we were completed with the effects for Ghost, the 525 lines of video resolution were doubled. Then it was recorded onto a high-resolution film recorder. This is one of many ways that video effects, digital effects, can be transferred back to film.
Richard Edlund also provided the visual illusions behind this ghoulish figure in Poltergeist 2.
The Great Beast in Poltergeist 2 had numerous lever operators and puppeteers and frankly, I mean, that was about 5 years ago. It was so complicated that it was like a nightmare. I mean, it was more of a nightmare than the beast itself. Building the Great Beast in 3 dimensions was in 2 stages, because we had the embryonic stage where we had a triple amputee named Noble Craig, who we built a suit for. And since he had no legs and only his left arm and had lost them in Vietnam, we were able to build this very strange-looking suit. And Noble then performed this situation in addition to having cables that controlled certain parts of the facial structure.
Monsters have been a part of Hollywood from the beginning. Frankenstein, Dracula, the werewolf, they all made their film debuts more than 60 years ago. The original Frankenstein, shot in 1931, turned Mary Shelley's novel into the definitive monster movie and created a genre of films that remains a Hollywood staple. The special effects were limited, but that didn't stop viewers from screaming in terror. Today's filmmakers know that modern audiences demand innovative visual effects. Director Sam Raimi's 1992 horror film Army of Darkness employs the finest supernatural special effects pros in Hollywood. Pros like Bob Kurtzman and Howard Berger of K&B Effects.
The vision that we create, it is from us, but a lot of it's the material we get to work from. Granted, we come up with a lot of the ideas, but we get some pretty far out scripts. You know, everybody, we'll go on a movie set and with some of the stuff that we've done, like, you guys are sick, you have sick minds. We're like, well, we didn't write it, you know, it's, this guy wrote it, Clive Barker wrote it, Stephen King wrote it. But I think we take what they have written and enhance it and really make it come to life.
Here at K&B Effects in Hollywood, Bob and Howard employ talented visual effects artists and technicians, collaborating to create amazing works of functional art.
Our collaboration with Sam Raimi on Army of Darkness, we initially submitted drawings, sketches, and such of each character, what we thought they would look like. Then Sam would put in, say, well, I don't know, that the jaw needs to be bigger, the head needs to be bigger. No, I don't like the pointy ears. Knowing Sam's sense of humor and everything, he likes things wild, so we went really wild, and he made us tone it down a little bit.
For Army of Darkness, Bob and Howard had to create a series of cable-controlled zombies known as Waldos. This life-sized Waldo was used for the close-up shots and required the expertise of 2 puppeteers to articulate its movements. K&B also created this hellish hound used in the movie The Amityville Horror Part 5.
What we have here is a puppet of a dog head. What this allows us to do is have the dog biting skin, ears can move. This little mechanism here makes the ears move back and forth. We also have a little blood syringe. This syringe allows us to pump blood out of the mouth of the animal, making it look like the blood is actually coming out of the actor's arm, but because we have foam teeth, the teeth sink in and the blood is pumped from underneath the tongue. But for just quick shots of like lunging, biting, things like this work real great.
When we see our own films, it's a thrill, you know, to see kids like scream and yell and kind of get grossed out, and the girls screaming and stuff like that, or applauding because there's this fantastic effect sequence. You know, it's a blast. It definitely is a big rush to see stuff like that.
David Miller has created his share of supernatural special effects here at his shop in Burbank.
On all of our characters, we have a foam latex skin, and foam latex is used because it's very soft, pliable, and it stretches a lot because it's made out of latex. And what we put under the skin for facial movements is a fiberglass or vacuum-formed shell, and on this shell, it's the exact conformation of the inside of the skin. So you get the exact fit on there. And on this shell, we put a house all our mechanics, which moves different parts of the face. There's eyebrows, there's lip movements, there's different cables for each lip expression, so we can get like a snarl on one side, or if we push them both together, you get the O sound, or the O shape. The jaw opens and closes, and there's also a lot of eye movements, there's blinks, and all this is glued to the skin itself, so that whatever this says can correspond with the movements on the outside of the skin. And here we have little Freddy Krueger as a baby, every mother's dream. And he operates on remote control, which are these little controls down here. Does a lot of different facial expressions. This was constructed with 6 little radio-controlled model airplane servos, which are little motors inside there that operate off the joysticks. And we only use 6 motors. We usually use a lot more, but this one only needed 6 because it's such a small face. And we use this method as opposed to cables because you can take it as far as you want. You're not limited by the length of the cables. This is for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, where Freddy gets reborn. I guess we all have to be a baby at some time.
Well, that's our inside look at supernatural special effects. The next time you're watching a movie and you think you just saw a ghost, remember, don't believe everything you see. It's only an illusion. That's a wrap. We'll see you next time on Hollywood Stuntmakers.